This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Welcome to the next episode of the Essential Leadership Cycle podcast. I'm your host and intentional leader, Rob Fisher, coming to you from the ArrowHP.com studios here at the Fit Center for Excellence in Concord, North Carolina. Today, I'd like to talk about how the Essential Leadership Cycle can be used to solve or effectively reduce typical team dynamics problems. Harvard Business Review's Answer Exchange lists 8 problems that teams typically encounter: absence of team identity, difficulty making decisions, poor communication, inability to resolve conflicts, lack of participation, lack of creativity, groupthink, and ineffective leadership. A team with poor dynamics includes people whose behavior disrupts workflow and results in wrong choices, poor decision-making, or no decision-making at all. Poor dynamics leave the team more vulnerable to conflicts and more susceptible to failure in their mission. Poor team dynamics also increases the probability that the problem you put the team together to solve may not be effectively remedied, or the improvement needed may not be gained. For the last 25 years, we at FIT have conducted something we call facilitated improvement teams to assist clients in proactively identifying and solving problems using the people involved, the workers who live it every day, and the subject matter experts. More recently, you may have heard these called learning teams, where they're solving a problem that we want to get to the bottom of, or for identifying potential areas for improvement. If run properly, they facilitate most of the essential leadership cycle, and especially enable the attribute of learning and continuous improvement, the last element of the essential leadership cycle. But to get the best out of these teams, consider that the leader and then the team will function better, more effectively, and more efficiently when they are self and team aware. They identify and learn their own and each other's personality tendencies and others' capabilities. The leader ensures that the team shares a mission, vision, values, and goals, and the team creates clear roles and processes, typically through something like roles, responsibilities, accountabilities, and authorities, or what we call R2A2, before the work starts. Since we started integrating the E-colors into the human and organizational performance, HP, and advanced error reduction systems, we've seen the importance of self and team awareness, step 1 in the essential leadership cycle, in ensuring that we get the diversity and inclusion of thought needed to solve problems and identify solutions effectively. I remember not so long ago, we would try to get people who we knew were smart to give their input on a subject or improvement, and they might answer, "I'm fine," or "sounds good," very typical responses for the relator personality. Or sometimes we'd have a few members of the team that would direct the team to do things, and others on the team, even if they didn't like it, would let them and then do those things, or sometimes not. Sometimes because they didn't want the conflict, and sometimes because they may not believe that they had a better option. Without a strategy and method and model for inclusion of the diverse thoughts, opinions, and information, all of their good information may remain inside and never make it to the point where the team and thus the organization can consider it. By being aware of and managing our personality tendencies and those of the people on our team, we can ensure that everyone's voice is heard and the information is used to get the best solution. Back in the day, we used to rely on a great facilitator or analyst to pull this off. But by using the essential leadership cycle, almost anyone can lead an effective team and avoid those 8 problems that we discussed. So let's take a minute and map, using the essential leadership cycle, to the Harvard Business Review's Answer Exchange 8 problems and see how that might work. First, absence of team identity. By starting with self and team awareness, learning about each other, our personality tendencies, strengths, and potential limiters, we can establish and agree on a mission, vision, and goal for the team that satisfies all of the team members and the leader whose problem the team was put together to solve. Next, difficulty making decisions. By having good shared vision and values, we can create better, more effective, and clearer roles and processes that the team wants to follow to get the outcome, thereby ensuring that the decisions that the team makes have gone through a process that vets those decisions. Poor communication. By understanding our personality tendencies and managing our potential limiters using personal intervention, we significantly reduce communications issues. Being aware of the error trap of poor communication and how that trap impacts each of us through our personality tendencies and through how we tend to react to those poor communications issues, the triggers that you're falling into the trap of poor communication, and the knowledge of the tools to reduce poor communication errors reduces the impact of this challenge. Next, inability to resolve conflicts. In reality, what we'd like to do is avoid the conflict in the first place by having self and team awareness and using personal intervention to manage the personality tendencies that may drive or reveal the conflict. The next one, lack of participation. Again, by being aware of our own and the team's personality tendencies, we can use management tools like the Essential Leadership Cycle, personal intervention, and the task-based system to get diverse and inclusive information from the team. We can ensure that people participate not just to the level of their comfort, but to the level that the team will most benefit from. The next one, lack of creativity. Often creativity comes from what looks like, to some, rants or being out there. And a few personality types tend to squelch that and want to be more direct. I happen to be the personality type that has to talk things out. But others may need to have some patience or push their pause button to let me take that journey. It often results in some very creative ideas that didn't necessarily play their way all out in my head, but needed to be talked out and sometimes even see others' reaction to them to get the best out of those creative ideas. The next one Harvard Business Review talks about is groupthink. Now, by assigning functions like devil's advocate and naysayers, we can actually better control groupthink, but we also need to manage our personality tendencies to make sure that we don't all just follow the leader or follow what we think is the best option on the table. And the last one is ineffective leadership. Well, the thing about the Essential Leadership Cycle is that it was designed to prevent ineffective leadership. In fact, it was designed to enable effective leadership. Using the Essential Leadership Cycle puts a method and a model to leadership effectiveness on any team in any location. So what can you do? Know the Essential Leadership Cycle and introduce it to each team you're leading or being a part of. Spend some time in the forming stage of the team on understanding yours and the team's personality tendencies and developing a shared values, mission, vision, and goal. Set those for the team that will allow you to create clear roles and processes. When times get tough, push back into these driving elements to improve your success. Until next time, this has been your host, Rob Fisher. Thanks for listening, and remember, intentional leadership starts with you.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.